side effects of getting old. You only focus on one sense at a time.
Yeah, so that was me as a 18-year-old, so that makes sense.
Got that bad that early?
Yeah, dude, I've been an old soul forever.
I think an old soul is different from not being able to find a parking spot when the music is loud, though.
I'm just like, turn that shit down, you know?
We're live, by the way.
I know.
Okay. I always like starting this without telling people.
That's the best thing, is when you start it without telling me and I'm just like getting into it naturally.
So, what do we have?
Well,
should we introduce ourselves? Is that?
Yeah.
Did we do that last time? It's been a little while.
I'm Jack Spalding. Welcome back to episode 2 of Eventual Apathy on Heroic Apathy, our channel. This is Matt. You going by Matt?
I guess so.
Okay. Yeah.
I like an aura of mystery.
Mystery around you. Such a mystery, man.
So I don't like being on the camera.
Yeah, we usually keep him just behind the camera as the DM, but in honor of Overwatch 2 coming out, I just wanted to talk about, just like run through the classes and just like put them into the Overwatch categories, right? You've got your attack, defense.
They built this whole fucking system around not doing that, now you want to do it.
Yeah. And then support, right? You've got attack, defense, and support. Are those the classes? Or I haven't played in a while. Good God. It's been so long since I played Overwatch 1 because Blizzard just fell off.
It follows the like the MMORPG archetypes, tank DPS, support, which I also throw healer. I actually don't remember if healer and support are separate categories.
No, they're the same category in Overwatch,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's perfect for what we're talking about. Artificer.
Well, should we, address the big glaring issue, the fact that there's no sort of real taunt mechanic in D&D?
Well, there certainly is a taunt mechanic. There's plenty of spells and other, compelled duel is exactly a taunt mechanic.
It's purely up to the DM if the mods are,
Well, don't they have to make a save?
I mean, they make a save where they get disadvantage against attacking other things. That's the general mechanic that's seen as the quote-unquote tanking mechanic.
There really, you're right, there isn't a taunt mechanic, but there are definitely tanks in the game. I mean, paladins, barbarians, there are tanks.
Something else that was recently introduced that actually is a tank mechanic, if you will, just off the top of my head. It makes me think it's probably one of the critical role things.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably that. That's probably why I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I definitely think of aggro, though, when I'm a DM, so, I mean...
Well, yeah, but like, you... Tank is, I mean, for other stuff it means you have a hard hard mechanic, a button you can press that guarantees you're the one getting the attacks.
Right, and I think that's obviously something that's not in D&D guarantee anything. It's all down to the dice and the decisions everybody makes and how the DM says it affects it. So yeah, you're right. There is no true taunt mechanic where you can just press a button and force you to take the hits instead of your teammate, unless you're doing a sympathetic bond or something.
Well, yeah, you take the damage from that. They're still getting the hit, though.
They're still getting the hit, but yeah, you're taking the damage. But isn't that tanking in general? Taking the damage in place of somebody else.
To a degree, it's actually more about control. It's more about control. Tanking is far more about controlling the mobs or monsters, as you want to say. It's less, because when you control them, you know where the damage is going to go. It's placement is a huge thing with it as well. At least in my experience with different MMOs that have actual tanking mechanics. The biggest thing is placement. That's you control the placement, you control their damage to a degree.
So then I guess tanks in D&D are more support than really defense. Because in Overwatch actually there are attack. I remember there being attack, defense, tank, and support. Those are 4 separate groups. And defense was like Torbjorn, Bastion, those characters where you're like setting up really a good defense for people coming through. So like I think of defensive like a defensive spell like Spike Growth. And like a ranger, I'd say I'd put into like a defense category. Great at defending certain areas. Wizard would be a great defense class because if you give a wizard preparation, they're gonna win almost every fight.
Yeah.
So attacking, we could say barbarians, Sure. Maybe fighters.
Mm.
Definitely. Rogues I'd put into the attack class, but in a large way, rogues are socially support. Their whole class is built around their skills and their expertise. So they're support in some ways, but definitely when it comes to combat, they're attack.
Is there? I mean, at least like for 5e, is there a reason to break up attack and defense, like rather outside of being DPS?
There's certainly not a reason to break it up.
Because it means just the way the system's laid out, if you're good at one, you're going to be good at the other.
Right, but I'm just trying to, examine it through the lens of Overwatch just for today. So you do, theoretically in this moment need to break it up between attack and defense. So like, I do suppose that a fighter would not be as good at defending a certain area from a large group of enemies by themselves than say a wizard would.
I mean, probably not, but I mean, still fully capable.
Definitely still fully capable of attacking.
I mean,
up to 4 enemies in the same turn.
There are actually a number of subclasses that are really great at it.
Sure, like the Echo Knight, great defensive
the Chevalier
fighter.
Is really good at
Chevalier,
it.
Another perfect defensive fighter. So yeah, if you want to break it down into subclass, there you go. Then you can absolutely say attack defense.
Like it's just more the straight DPS and it's just different in this. I don't know. It just seems needlessly complicated to break it into attack and defense.
It's just a concept. We don't have to do it.
No, I know. I mean, I get it. I get it. But it's also, I mean, no, I don't know. We can go with that.
Okay, but so hear me out on this. So like, I would say that a sorcerer is more DPS than say a wizard who can change out their spells and like then know the situation upcoming and like, okay, we're about to be under siege. I need to have these spells ready. I need to go learn these spells. Where a sorcerer is like, I got a big fireball. Where do you want me to put it?
Yeah, because reading's for nerds.
That's right. Reading is for nerds. Sorcerer supremacy.
No. The only time he's ever played a sorcerer is when I homebrewed that he could switch out a spell every long rest, so he doesn't actually know how to play one.
I just switched out one.
Every long rest.
Yes, and also the Arcane Savagery homebrew feat, which we did not at the time understand exactly how powerful it was.
Well, I mean, actually, I can get how powerful it was. It was it ones and twos or was it just wounds?
It was all one spell damage. I could re-roll and use the new roll, which is sick.
If it was dropped down, if it's dropped down to just one, I could see it being perfectly fine. The 2 was pushing a little bit.
The 2 was pushing it a lot, especially when you're rolling like d6s or d4s. You end up re-rolling half the dice.
The adept feats do the same thing and also allows you to ignore resistance for that damage.
For sure, but the adept feat allows you to roll 1 dice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get
all ones.
All ones,
mm-hmm.
Right? But not all 2s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you ignore resistance.
And with that special damage. Arcane Savagery allows it for all damage types.
It was. I mean, it was definitely like a lot.
It was super cool.
It was.
It was
definitely trying out new home.
Definitely super powerful sorcerer, yeah, I have a soft spot in my heart for it for sure. Self-insert character, as we always do for the first one. Where were we? We were talking about wizard and sorcerer.
I know I've said that before. That the first is usually a self-insert, but Wingard was the first one I ever played, like actually.
Really, in 5e?
I've always DM'd otherwise.
Oh my gosh, I was his first DM. LOL.
For 5e, yeah. Wild magic goblin that used a staff of power to break it and kill Santa.
It was so cool. They murdered Santa's
kids. I guess
kids.
that's me.
Yeah, that's you. The most chaotic possible person trying to become the overlord of capitalism, Santa Claus.
I guess I wasn't chaotic dumb. Chaotic stupid.
You were chaotic fun. But what was your first character that you played ever in Dungeons and Dragons? Like, what was your first system?
First one was 3, then a little into 3.5. I like 4 a lot actually, which is funny because they're moving towards 4 with a lot of the changes.
1 D&D.
Yeah, and a lot of people are getting I don't know. It's the edition wars. A lot of people are going to experience their first with it.
Yeah.
You always hate the new edition, even though it does a lot of things that you've been complaining about.
Yeah.
But because it's obviously going to change something, because if they're moving to a new system, I mean, they're going to change some things for the sake of change.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of time that's a sad byproduct of moving into a new edition.
Yeah, you do see that a lot. Unlike the Madden games where they just copy and paste the same game.
They don't have to do anything else. It's not like the game of football has changed either.
TikTok taught me about this. They stopped competing when EA and the NFL made a deal. They didn't have to make any new games after 2008. It's all been the same game since then. That's why it always sucks. It gets worse every year. Anyway, I was going to say, what makes a player character special to you? Like, what is the most, like the easiest way for you to feel like a player character stands out in your world as the DM?
They have parents. And they also, agree to work with a group.
So you're saying a player character who doesn't agree to work with the group is not special at all? It's very common.
Yeah. Everyone wants to be edgy. Everyone wants to have this wild, crazy. Or at least in my experience, this is all in my experience. Everyone wants the weird, edgy backstory until I get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Then they get real fucking tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trauma gets old
fast.
fast.
You want your village to be burned down by a rival religion that also happens to worship a god that's you equated to an old Celtic god that was notorious for human sacrifices. I'll give you exactly that, and you are going to tell me you're getting tired of how grim it is, even though people want to be edgy until the edgy edges back.
Until it edges on you.
Don't say that. That's different. That's way different.
Yeah, people do want to be super edgy, and
well, I mean, and I get that. I mean, because you want what's hot right now is the tragic. Tragic. I mean, tragic's always hot for some reason. I mean, actually, I get why, but everybody wants that. They want a tragic character, but then a lot of people that could probably thrive in tragedy probably don't want to play tragic characters because they've experienced tragedy and they don't see that. That's not a relaxing thing to them unless they're the very artistic type. The very artistic, creative type is fine with that, but
yeah,
a lot of people don't relish tragedy for a reason.
Yeah, I do not relish playing a tragedy. I'm like, let's have fun. This is a game. I am not using the table as my therapy group.
I mean, you can do that as long as everyone else is on board.
As long as everyone else is on board and knows what's happening, or you disguise it behind some excellent role play.
Yeah.
That is what I will forgive. If you are disguising your therapy with the table behind some excellent role play that doesn't, barge into anybody else's shit and is fun for everybody, I don't care. Do it. That's a good time, and I think you're playing the game well. If I can't tell, then that's awesome.
It's probably way more productive if you're that good at working through it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, as a therapy session, you're actually working through it. It's not it's not stalling, and you're not being the same edge the whole single time with nothing.
There has to be an arc if that's
exactly.
Gonna be good. Yeah.
If you have character growth and change and development, then you're working through that. You're working through your issues there.
So I was going to ask you, how do you begin to build a special character? And I guess, like you said, have parents. Mm-hmm. Have those parents have some connection to you because that's real, first of all, in most societies.
No, when you say special, what sets them apart from the they don't know they're NPCs, but the NPCs in the world?
No, other player characters.
Okay,
what makes them,
what individually makes them?
Because everybody has favorites, surely, and everybody has moments in the game where they're like, man, this one time, this one player did something that really stood out to me, and I'll just always remember that. And so I just want to come from that point of view of obviously it comes down to the moments most of the time. but sometimes the character themselves can be really special and just enjoyable for everybody at the table.
For me, it's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
You gotta be good at something, but you have to be bad at something. Otherwise, it's just kind of.
Yeah, if your character's good at everything and you can do everything, well, that is boring.
I mean, I'm sure it can be interesting, but it's gotta. You're also. It is also. I mean, it can be interesting in some games and some systems, but I don't think like a tabletop RPG is really the play, or at least not a group based one, because I mean it's a cooperative experience. It's like cooperative storytelling and narrative building, and if you can just do everything, what the hell is everyone else at the table going to be doing?
Yeah, and if you can do everything already, what is your power fantasy? What is the growth there?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you coming from and where are you going to if you can already do everything and you're good at everything? I tried recently in my times at the table to exercise playing into my flaws, like doing things that don't necessarily seem like either a logical or the smart choice, just because like this is what my character would do. I baked this into the character that they're gonna make sure that I put myself and my friends between danger and other people. Be a little bit more risky than I would want to in my life, just because that's the character I've made, and I think that was the fun thing to do and what he would do. And of course that doesn't go into saying, oh, it's what my character would do, and doing some stupid shit that gets everybody killed. But, if your DM's introducing...
Unless it was what your character would do, and it was a shit position on the DM side. I could see that happening.
Like what?
I would say, like, for example, at least with the other, the kind of what we colloquially refer to as like campaign 1. Like, if I, had the group run into Walderon when you all were like level like 5.
Yeah.
And obviously, Lynx is going to start a fight with him because he was one of the people that burned down his village.
Right.
Sacrificed a bunch of them, being a cultist of Talos, god of destruction, and Lynx's whole kind of character growth has been on also worshiping Talos and coming to terms with what Talos is, and even though he got the whole the sweet talk from Talos about how he's one of his special, hitting multiple groups against each other to get the biggest and the baddest out of them. And it turns out him and his village weren't the biggest and the baddest. They got shit stomped, and if they had run into this individual, if y'all had run into this individual, 6 or 7 levels earlier than y'all did for the fight, he would have just rocked y'all shit and not even taken the time to realize it was a fight.
Right.
Like that. But Lynx would have started a fight with him. That's what Lynx would do.
And I think
that's kind of that like it's what my character.
So it's on your it's on your DM at that point if you put yourself in that position where like, oh, one of the character's big bads is going to run into him. I wonder what he's going to do. He's going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do?
If you know the emotional, knobs to turn for your players, I think that's honestly one of the best things to do.
Yeah.
Is get to know this, especially so you can push things forward, and you don't have to railroad, but you kind of are railroading because they're not going to fucking pass this up.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to play with that, you gotta the onus is definitely on you to make sure that you're throwing those big things in at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
Because they're going to respond. They're going to go after it. And if you make it, if you're going to be like, well, I just tried to convey that he was super strong. It's like, well, yeah, he's always going to be super strong, but he's going to try. That's his whole reason for.
Yeah, that's his whole reason for adventuring.
Yeah, like.
Yep.
Yeah, like I could see like a little bit, but if it's just like just being random or just robbing everybody because it's what my character is. Yeah.
No, see that'll get you killed.
Fuck right off.
If you try to murder every shopkeeper to steal everything in the store, you're gonna get killed. I'm sorry. Like, that's just being a murder hobo, and you know what? You get what you get when you mess with a DM like that.
Ooh, start messing with towns and just be like, well, you can just fuck off. You can leave.
Oh,
sir, you can.
What do you think we do to people who murder people in this town? We chase them off with our action economy, all 80 of us.
Throw rocks at you.
How do you think you're going to survive a stoning from 80 attacks per round? Like, even if each stone does 1d4 plus 1, like, you're gonna die.
Yeah. And don't worry, I will make sure you're bored before you kill all these villagers in combat.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna want to stop doing it.
Oh, and you know what? I'm not even gonna roll for all 80 of them. I'm just gonna do averages. 20 of them hit each time. Just like in real stonings.
So many rocks.
Just so many rocks.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen or participated in real stoning. Could you please embellish upon that some more?
Oh, you've played Mount and Blade Warband and also Bannerlord, and so you know that when the bandits or the looters only have sticks and stones, they'll just stone you to death.
Oh my god, without mods, armor is fucking useless in that game.
Well, it's not useless, but it's definitely not as realistic as it should be. Yeah.
It really is.
I see what you mean in terms of speed, for sure. So, should subclasses and classes be designed with a full action economy, or should some classes, traditionally not have a reaction or bonus action baseline? What do you think about that?
So, there's kind of, I guess with a lot of the more recent subclasses coming out, they are just filled to the brim with bonus actions or reactions for things.
It's true,
especially for classes that traditionally don't really like one of the big things full casters generally, for the most part, don't come with bonus actions baseline in their kit. It's either from a spell, or from feat support or stuff later on. But then you have Artificer's not full caster, so I can push that out. But like Wizard, like Druid, I know like Circle of Stars, that's kind of like a big thing.
It's a huge thing.
Have a bonus action every single turn that you're using.
If I'm using Archer,
Archer, yeah. But there's also a lot of other classes that are now coming with that in. I feel like it feels. I feel like there's kind of a line, like it should definitely be left open to a degree for some character customization, some ability for you to develop and come up with your own thing to use in that, like either you're taking a feat or an item or multiclassing or figuring out something that's a little different, rather than if you want to do anything else, you feel like you're now skipping out on using your class stuff.
Totally.
You feel like you're losing out every turn if you're not using all of your class features, which end up taking all of your actions.
It's true. The other day, playing Circle of Stars, I was like, oh man, I want to cast Healing Word, but that'll take up my bonus action. I had to deal with that, that dilemma. Obviously, I don't think every class should have that dilemma with a constant bonus action use. Like, I don't think a fighter should need a bonus action every single turn. That's a lot.
You shouldn't say that. That's one of the ones that should. Marshals are one of the ones that traditionally rely on bonus action heavy. They generally don't have reactions though.
Well, what's fighters bonus action heavy?
Gray weapon fighter, polearm master, 2-weapon fighting.
That's a feat. Those are the feats.
Yeah.
That's not from the class though. It's from the feat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm saying it shouldn't be baked in.
Barbarians are most ubiquitously have a bonus action from their subclass. Fighters, a lot of them now do. Echo Knight.
The Samurai.
Echo Knight feels it. Samurai. Yeah, Samurai do it to a degree.
Does Battlemaster?
Yeah.
Champion doesn't.
Yeah, Champion's just fighter plus, but that's not a bad thing.
There you go.
It's not.
Yeah, see, that's one where
But what I mean is, when I meant traditionally more, I meant more like full marshals generally rely on their bonus action in one way or another as time goes on, and full casters rely on their reaction for stuff. That's generally stuff that gets filled. And so yeah, that's kind of because I mean you start plugging those in, and it just kind of all of a sudden everybody has full utterly full action economy, and it's also kind of, I don't know, slightly frustrating as a DM, mostly because I don't know if it might also just be a personal insight on this. It's just more it really like just kind of grinds the fuck out of my gears. Like if I ever hear a player complain about how like something's supposedly unfair, like if they're like in a fight against something,
yeah,
they're like this is so unfair. Like they can do this. I'm like,
you can do everything.
Like, look, just stop. Like they don't even get like they don't get bonuses to saves, like for the most part, except for like really high level monsters. You have a bonus to save for everything. Most monsters don't have bonus actions or reactions. They don't have like any of it. Like they're very light. Like for at least most of the stuff that's written in official, and you know it's just kind of when you're doing like you know full action, full bonus action, and reaction every single turn, and you're just kind of you know complaining about how things are unfair. I'm just like, oh, just stop, please. Just stop.
The minute,
and it's just so hard to die in 5e.
It's so hard to die. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. So that one of the things I want to talk about is what's your view on resurrecting players? How much do you allow, and can NPCs help?
The big issue with resurrecting players is it's really hard. You can resurrect characters pretty easily.
Player characters, not players. View on resurrecting player characters.
I think it's fine. I mean, definitely, I'm very much in the same way that I very truly believe like you have to follow spellcasting to the T. You don't give spellcasters leniency.
Yeah.
They don't fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
They already can do almost whatever they want, and if they want to be like, well, why can't I just do the verbal components quietly? It's like, well, there's a mechanic for that. How about you either multi-class into sorcerer or play it if you want to do that? Yeah. Or you know, let a spell do.
Or be a level 20 archdruid. Get your
Or let a spell. Or if you start letting spells do more than they're supposed to do.
Right.
Then you know it's all rules are off that one. But yeah, you have to really follow to the T because I mean the levels of resurrection spells are based on like how long things have been dead.
Right, and so my question really is like when players are trying to use an NPC to resurrect a player, like how much?
It's gonna be so fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is because like I was watching Critical Role the other day, and they were calling in I think Keyleth to resurrect Laudna or something. I didn't actually watch the end of the episode, so I don't know what happened, but. Like I was just thinking, like you're really gonna use a player's old character to resurrect their current character, just because she's still alive in the world.
I can see the storyline sense in that. That's interesting.
It works.
It's interesting.
It's
definitely like a fun little callback. But I don't know. There's no consequences in Critical Role.
Yeah, it works on a story level, but not on a not on the rules of the game type of way.
Ever since Matt played Vecna like an actual villain, there hasn't been a single consequence because of the emotional trauma apparently the fan base went into when he
killed Vax.
No. Whenever he replaced Vecna replaced two of his guards, like with I cannot remember the merchant's name at the time.
Gilmore.
Yeah, with Gilmore and then Percy's little sister. He replaced two guards fully armored in his fortress, and they just murked them, fucking hard.
Gilmore and
they were in armor, like faces were covered. The group just came in, just fucking surprise attack, just fucking wiped the floor with them. Realized that, and I remember Matt. You know, there's talks. You know, Mercer was getting death threats for that. And you know that's what a villain of Vecna's level would do.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, but yeah, there hasn't been real
psychological trauma.
Well, no, I don't mean psychological trauma. I mean like consequences for like the
villain would do. That's what I mean.
I mean like no legal authority ever came after the Mighty Nine. They were a roving band of fucking sociopathic murderers. They spent their free time just murdering random people throughout the land, and there was no legal, there was no authority, there was no sheriff, there was nothing. Was just like, I wonder who did this. I wonder who's just rolling through, just doing all these things.
Yeah. Cerberus assembly
and I
didn't do
get,
much.
I mean, and I get why. It's a show. It's a
show.
It's not a. They're not actually. They're not playing a game. It's not in its script. It's just a show, but there has to be a next episode.
So that's what I think.
Has to. They're gonna play out the full arc.
That's what I think happened at the end of campaign 1 in Critical Role. Is it stopped being a game and started being a show, right? Because like that was their home game that they brought to Twitch.
Originally started as Pathfinder.
Yeah.
She started in Pathfinder, then they switched over. But yeah, I mean, and it's a show, so that's fine on that. But it simply doesn't aren't consequences. And it's not deriding, or it's not it's not giving to or taking away from the quality I think of the show.
Yeah.
It's just simply what
it's
it
a good
is.
show.
But with that, I mean, most NPCs I would roll with. I mean, unless like it's someone who owes you all a bunch, then you're at least paying the materials.
Yeah.
At least, if not, most there's an actual chart. Actual chart in I believe I want to say it's the DMG for how much a cleric or a priest or someone with kick
charge
reservation on top of the material cost. I would generally like to go double.
Yeah.
Because it's a priest. I mean, they're most priests that you run into and stuff without if you're avoiding the issue of all of my NPCs are level 20. If you're avoiding that, most priests are going to be like middling level. So you're potentially this vagabond fucking axe murderer. You're gonna resurrect them instead of potentially curing a blind old man.
Yeah, that's
so
you're spending your time on that day.
There's gonna be a lot of gold put into that. So I would generally probably just material costs double would probably be the expense for it.
Nice.
And if you have the money to pay for it, you have the money to pay for it. It's not going to get more expensive as time goes on.
What about players who have already been revived or resurrected a number of times? Do you make it harder with the DC, or do you just say it gets more expensive?
There's a 50-50 on here. I know, like, calling back to Lynx at the moment, I know, our player for Lynx he's died, twice. Twice now.
A few times.
But he's already told me, he's like, hey, the next time Lynx dies, I'm just gonna go to a different character. Even though, his story's not quite done, or at least he doesn't know that it's not done. I have a bunch of fun little things and were you still around, like, for when all, like, the refugees showed up?
Yes, I was definitely there.
And the three little kids.
Yes.
And and like how I described them, and how I remember his original thing is like he kind of wanted a Loki-esque character, and how there's this like relationship with Talos that he sees as kind of set up as like old school Odin / Thor, and how he's like, well, I kind of wanted him to be a Loki character and take him down, like show him. I'm like, well, first off, you don't know the mythology. Second off, we can do that. And so these three little kids, I introduced a sullen little girl, black hair, very pale skin, a young boy that seemed like uncontrollable hair, for a little maybe even a little feral, and then another individual, a taller boy, very patient, very cold, very standoffish. And as they grow in, and as the old mythology is, Loki's three children were Hel, Fenris, and Jormungandr. Hel being the goddess of death, female, generally depicted pale skin, dark hair, half paralyzed face in some instances.
Oh yeah.
Fenris, the wild wolf, and then Jormungandr the serpent. And you might realize in time that that's what these three kids are supposed to represent, and that he's basically going to set the next generation to take care of the big issues that he set forward, because
consequences.
Well, it's kind of that, and I don't know, I might just feel cheapened and biased because I'm the creator of the world, but I feel like it's very difficult to start out in an adventure and within only like a few years, like in the game time, topple a greater deity, because that's what he wants to do. Yeah. He wants to topple Talos, which, being a god of destruction and in a world that, due to narrative reasons, is just having more and more issues going on.
What
He's
level,
getting stronger.
What level are they at now? 13?
Maybe. We've been off for a few weeks because of the baby.
That's right.
And so the two players, they just had a kid together and with their second kid, and I forced a hiatus for sessions because I know they would try and play, but they need the rest.
They need the rest.
They need the fucking rest. That, and they're far too tired for me to emotionally torment. If you're that tired, you just don't care.
You can't be tormented.
I can't pull any emotional trauma.
You're James Bond in Casino Royale. Getting tortured, just talking about getting your balls tickled.
Yeah, he's too tired to like. Yeah, emotional trauma has no effect on people who are sleep deprived.
All right, let me ask you: does a party need to be balanced, or does it even matter?
In what sense?
In the sense of what they're able to do.
Well, not all parties are going to be able to do everything.
Right.
Like, I mean, hopefully one of them can heal.
Right, so like in a situation where you've got a party where there is no healer, nobody can heal.
Otherwise, they're going to be, throwing back health potions, like,
it's going to be one expensive adventure group.
That can become a narrative thing.
Yeah.
There's
try not to die.
Well, certain like they won't, certain tasks can't quite be undertaken because you've run through the local supply of health potions, and so I don't know how many dungeons you want to go diving down into with no ability to heal or bring someone up from while they're rolling death saves. So I mean, it could be used as a limiting factor. Certainly, I mean, make it into a resource, like any other. To balance, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on like what you're talking about. Like I've heard. Always, reading stories and stuff about all casts, like full caster parties or full martial parties doing perfectly fine. I would say balance if there doesn't even in the group itself. You don't have tried at least not to have the characters that clearly outshines all the others. And at least not in like a mechanical sense.
Right.
You gotta be careful about that stuff.
Yes, that's why whenever I see Taliesin playing his new subclass,
I'm still trying to figure out what it is. I'm sure someone has it like logged on, like. I'm trying to see if I can pick it up on my own, mostly because I listen to it. I don't.
It's like a barbarian geomancer.
Oh no, it has to do with it's time based.
I thought it was spatial.
Well, yeah, it's like time and space.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
So
because one of his big things is
Dunamancy?
like the it's fully Dunamancy based because he has both Chronomancy
Chronomancy?
Yeah, Chronomancy and Graviturgy.
Yeah.
Built into it, but I mean I don't know. It just seems like it can do everything. Well, not everything, but it seems like it has far features and things it can do than any other barbarian subclass. It seems to have like an AoE either slowing or disadvantage effect.
Yeah.
Also has a smite of some sort.
Yeah.
That you can pump in. Also has a teleport of some sort.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
But I haven't been able to tell like if they're available at all times or if it seemed to feel like it mentioned
he has
when he rages or something.
He has to roll when he rages, 1, and 2, he has a certain limited amount of like basically key points.
Was that how it works?
I think so.
I was thinking it was kind of like a take on wild magic for a little bit, but it seemed
he does have like a wild magic effect of it. But every time they're planning a new Critical Role campaign, I imagine Taliesin calls up Matt Mercer and says, "Build me a subclass reversible."
Yeah, and,
we have work to do.
Gunslinger was just a lot.
The Gunslinger, Bloodhunter. He always plays a cool one.
Well, no, I mean Bloodhunter didn't do that great, but I mean Gunslinger
The Bloodhunter was interesting.
Yeah, Bloodhunter is interesting, especially in its new iteration. I like it.
Yeah, the new iteration's cooler than the.
But the Gunslinger is just there's a lot there. It's a weird mixture between like Arcane Archer and Battlemaster, but it also has like improved criticals for some reason.
I think it's because it's firearms. I don't know.
No, it just straight up has improved criticals.
Oh, then without using firearms?
No, it might be just with firearms, but you're not going to use anything. Mechanically, it's the exact same because you're not ever going to
I still remember Percy's best moments with the Dragon Slayer longsword.
I don't remember that.
No Mercy Percy? When they were killing, what was the Black Dragon's name? In CR1.
It was. No, he didn't use it. That's when Scanlan and Grog were in the dragon, and that's what
he used it in the cave in the Dragon's Lair. He
action
surged with the Dragon Slayer longsword.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they did chase it back out. Yeah,
that was
chased
a sick
it back to
moment.
its lair after.
But that's just any fight.
After they fucking had the entire fucking herd attack it as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did the immovable rod inside it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was such a cool move. I thought that was so fun.
It's always been an interesting item to me.
Yeah.
I just don't know where it plants. Like it's just in the middle of the air.
Yeah, so I think that's what you do if you're like trying to make a daring escape or something. You like fly to a point, you click it, tie a rope to it. Not sure. Honestly,
it's an interesting thing, yeah.
Can't figure out a super good way to use it in any situation I've ever been in, but like, I always
not creative enough.
Yes, I've never wanted to put it inside a dragon, which is obviously the coolest way to use
what
it.
I'm pissed about? Because we did mention one D&D a second ago. They're butchering the subclass I've never played, nor will probably ever actually play, but only have like wet dreams about the thief rogue.
Oh yeah.
Because I can only imagine what I could do.
Why are they butchering it?
They were removing. I believe it was removing like use an object from
your extra bonus action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the coolest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, they're doing that. And so yeah, you can't just do anything to your heart's content with all the mundane adventuring equipment that people forget about.
Artificer plus the thief rogue makes a very dangerous combo because you can just feed that thief items that you make for him to interact with as an extra bonus action.
And also most adventuring items are pretty cheap anyways. You could just buy a bunch of them.
Oh, for sure.
Like rope and stuff, like rope.
Just like alchemist fire, just like stuff like that. Like so much stuff that the artificer can just like shit out for you.
Yeah.
Hand it to you. I have loved playing an artificer. It is just so fun to be like, okay, who's gonna get a cool bonus this week? Okay, who's losing their bonus based on their performance last week? I made our cleric some mind-sharpening armor she didn't expect. And I was like, you know what? I've decided that I'm going to cast a few concentration spells myself, and so I'm going to use it now.
That's definitely fun. It's interesting whenever it starts to become our items and not your items.
Yes, that moment when they're thinking,
I feel like that
oh
can
no,
sometimes become an issue.
Oh, but you're taking away my dagger? But we need this.
I think it's more of an issue when you can start making, like the headband's intellect or the gauntlets of overpower.
Yes. When you start changing people's statistics and their attributes, they really want those.
Get covetous.
They get very covetous. And the AC changes are also covetous. So if you can make, a ring of protection, cloak of protection, something like that, people are like, hey, get that shit to me right now. I need that. I'm tired of dying.
Artificer definitely. Crafting's always a weird thing.
Oh yeah,
crafting's always a weird thing.
I want to get back to that campaign one day because I just made a +1 shield.
It's very much a weird thing to approach as a DM.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't, in the long term, actually like hold it against players, but just as a DM, it's just annoying as fuck. For like a player's like, oh, I want to create this very specific magic item that is, way out of our capability to go find ourselves.
Yeah.
And stuff. How long is it gonna take? Or wait, it has material cost. Why?
Why?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's probably a hard like knee-jerk reaction against making any character or any build around a specific item. I very much, I kind of just hate it. I hate because then that character's, or if you started a character going into a campaign, but you go into a campaign and like if you tell your DM like, hey, I want this item by the way. Well, what? Not in the sense that like players can't request it, but they're like, oh yeah, I want a staff of power. Cool, you'll get it later down the road. Like, no, I made this character in mind with getting that item. It's like,
No.
Come on,
Especially
man.
not if you're starting at level 1.
Well, I know you won't get it then, but they're like by level 10, I'm gonna have it right. It's like,
Maybe.
probably not.
Staff of Power?
And
Probably
like,
not.
and I know this is probably like a hard knee jerk, but like I think it's very much like it feels like it's just getting very the character is just purely mechanical. It's very it's there's only one way. Like when you start to build around an item, it means there's only one way this character works in the player's mind.
There you
at
go.
that point, and if you don't,
That's not fun.
yeah, and if it doesn't come down to it, they feel like they either their character's not their character, it's not what they wanted to do. But I mean, then if it's I think it's just a bad idea.
What about a certain weapon style? It doesn't have to be like an item. They're just like, I really want to use this kind of weapon.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, weapon style is fine, but it is more like it's the very like if you build a character around having a specific item, like it very much kind of weapon style. No, that's perfectly fine. That's because I mean you can the weapon at least some class of the or some tier of the weapon will be available at the beginning.
Yeah.
It'll be available from the very beginning, and that play style can be fulfilled. But yeah, or it's like building character out with like wanting like a very specific, very powerful magic weapon. I know I haven't experienced it myself, but you sometimes read about like this. Hey.
See you,
See
man.
it. But like very much like read like I mean hex blades are probably an issue with it.
Yeah.
Because like through because the actual description of the subclasses, you get your power from an extremely powerful weapon. It's not a patron. Well, it is to a degree, but it's not a patron as you think. Hex blades, literally, you get your power from.
So then, why would you ever get a packed weapon as a hex blade?
I think it's supposed to like represent the weapon in some way, but I think that's taken and seen as differently. Like I think a lot of players see that as like, oh, cool, I'm going to start with this, or in some way, or this means I'm going to get it, and that's kind of I think that's probably where I find some issue with it because also I mean because nobody picks a big super magical weapon in mind with the idea of being reasonable. You just don't. You don't.
That's a
you
good
don't.
point.
You don't make a reasonable pick. You don't plan to be reasonable after you have it. You're not a better fighter. It's like now I'm just gonna start killing kings.
Oh no! I as my sorcerer got Storm Girdle, I fully decided to multi-class and pick up plate armor because that's what I wanted to do. It does not necessarily based on what the character would do or what made sense. It was what I wanted mechanically.
Sometimes I still question if I even should let you have it. Not because of the results, but because of how it got there. Because you were the only player at the table that knew what item they were picking. And you talked another player out of picking it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
You talked Lynx out of picking it. You talked the Tippus cleric out of picking Storm Girdle because you wanted it. Because you were the only one that knew that that's what it was.
That was bad of
Because
me.
you were the only one that kept looking up everything on D&D Beyond.
That was not cool. Should not have done that.
Yeah. That's the only reason why I questioned that. I shouldn't have just given you a vermin shroud, which I still want to make work one day. I want to make a dirty.
You
dirty
did make
rat
a one-shot rat character and ended up not playing him.
Yeah. What was? I think it. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was probably an artificer of some point. Because I was trying to make Ikit Claw from Warhammer.
Oh my god, yes.
I was trying to make Ikit Claw in some way, but first off,
That dangerous
just
son of a bitch.
can't get nukes as a PC until you get like 8th level spells, and I don't think we were at that level for that one shot. But I was like, well, there's no rat. Like shit, there's no rat folk. I don't want to homebrew a race. I don't want to do homebrew race stuff. It's like, wait, but there is Vermin Shroud. No, it doesn't make you rat-like, but it can turn you into a rat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, purely
You could just make a Skaven race.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even know what features it would need.
Okay, I want to make a cleric subclass based around.
This game's whole thing is like they're not particularly honorable. They're also not brave, and it's like far beyond like kobolds and goblins aren't brave. It's very much like, hey, they're just like the epitome of like, you know, if a bear's chasing me, I only have to run faster than you.
Yes.
They're like the epitome, but I don't know how to, you know, put that into a feature unless you just make them faster in general. I don't know why call for like a unique feature.
How about when they're frightened, they gain additional movement speed?
But then that's a detriment for the player.
Yeah.
Because you're
forced to move.
Well, yeah. Every time you're frightened, you're now going to be so much farther away from everything.
Wait, are you forced to move as a player, or is that a player's mechanic?
There are some effects
that force you to run.
Yeah, there are some that force you to move as far away as possible. That fall under the frightened condition, and that fall under like pseudo frightened conditions. But the general frightened condition is you cannot move closer, and you have disadvantage as long as you're within line of sight of the source of fear. But there are some that tack on a little bit more. There's some spells that do like a pseudo frightened effect, essentially. I'm trying to think. It's one of the illusion spells that just makes you move as far away as possible. Use all your movement in the next turn at least, if not further turns as long as you're effect of the spell. But just something like that would just be a detriment. But what were you saying before that?
I don't remember at all.
Okay. But yeah, just.
Oh, now I do. Cleric subclass I wanted to make. Like a hunter god or goddess. Like just like a cleric who uses a bow instead of like typical plate armor shield. I know, but it's like a subclass around that.
Well,
or rather, hunting.
And what what aspects of hunting?
Like how most hunting is done with ranged weapons. And I don't know. It's just an idea I had. I just thought about it. I didn't have any actual mechanics for it yet.
So a ranger.
A little bit, yes. A little bit.
Just describing a ranger.
But it's not a half caster.
So you want to be a martial bow user, but also a full caster.
Definitely not consider it a martial character. It's a caster. But a forge cleric
of using a bow then? What's the point of the focus on the bow?
It's just I don't know. I haven't even built it yet.
Just hold a bow. Just put a fucking bow on your back if you want a bow. But if you want devoted to using a bow specifically,
I have to make it for it to show you that it makes sense. I can't just describe it to you right now.
Do you want them to be proficient with the bow? Do you want them to do a bunch of stuff with the bow?
Yeah, proficiency with the bow.
Do you want it to be a primary focus of it?
I want it to be at least a focus of it.
Okay, ranger.
But everyone says just play fighter with a bow.
Fighter can't do magic. Ranger's part druid.
Fighters can do magic.
Some fighters can. Really not very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, ranger. You're part druid,
so,
which canonically is a priest. Canonically, druid is a priest of the old gods.
That's
true.
It's
a priest of just the
nature
primeval
gods.
Nature gods. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not, voodoo.
So what priest is Circle of Stars of?
I'm sorry, what was the name of it?
Stars, like how do stars work in D&D?
Constellations.
Oh.
They're just the
Gas
representations
balls?
of the gods.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So representations of the gods.
Well, why do you think we name constellations? Why do you think we give them myths? Why do you think?
No, that's what humans do. I don't know about the D&D ones.
Why wouldn't they do the same? They have a sky. They have stars.
Of course they do.
Why are a bunch of the
most
of the mechanics for Circle
what I'm asking
are based around guidance. They're based around, like I said, guidance, asking for a path, finding something. So you ask the stars, you look to the stars. That's literally the point of subclasses, look to the stars.
No, I get that. I'm asking if there's astrology in D&D.
Is there a sun? Is there at least one moon?
I'm not
Probably
saying
more.
astronomy, astrology.
Yes, if those are there, it means there's light at night. It means also there's light coming from various stars, from various systems, various constellations. So yes, there's astrology.
Okay.
Why wouldn't there be?
I'm just asking. I've only been playing this game for 2 years. I don't know everything.
Forgotten Realms have crystal healers too, alright?
I don't even know what that means.
It's the whole fucking, like, crystal healing, like, in real life.
Oh, you mean like the people who sell you crystals? And
Yeah.
this is for healing.
Yeah.
This is for your kidney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except, guess what? The Forgotten Realms, way more proficient.
That shit works. Or they're
Yeah,
better
well,
at selling it.
Circle that starts with that. You know, you see guidance. You see, to a degree, like, points of, you know, like, divination in the stars, looking for that.
Looking forward.
It's probably, like, with Druid, it's probably, you know, it's less flavored about a domain with Druid as a priest-esque character, and it's more like an aspect of the world that you go for, like, you know, like stars. They look to the stars, to the sun and the moon for guidance with all that. Where, like, Circle of the Land, you know, interprets things in the land for that guidance, like various things like that.
Okay.
Like Wildfire, you know, their whole thing is, you know, the birth and rebirth of nature through fire, through that. So, you know, they're, and it's a weird, like, I don't know, it's hard to, you know, draw a parallel, like with clerics, the way the domains are set up, but it's like, you know, it's like the old wise woman, or the, you know, the crazy dude up in the mountains.
All right, I got one more topic for you. What's the best way to handle players who have become overpowered, or tanks you just feel like you can't kill?
Is it like of my own making, or is it just like
a little bit? It's both the you know, the player who has leveled up and, like, built themselves into this unassailable tank.
How are they unassailable?
They have huge AC, high HP.
If they have a huge AC, just make them take more saves. If they have a bunch of HP, just burn through it.
Fair enough, but I like to think just go around that wall themselves and the weaker members of the party.
We're gonna have to kill them eventually if you want to kill the whole party.
Well, right. No, I mean, just as your goblins or kobolds or whatever blunt their spears against the same target again and again, they just pick a new one.
Well, those ones that are stabbing, they're dead. There's no getting around that. It's the ones in the back doing the smart ones that, you know,
they're gonna burrow around or go, you know, they're gonna do something else. They're gonna shoot.
Or, I mean, if there's some reason why they can't get past this individual, I mean, that kind of goes both ways. Like, why would they be unable to get to the rest of the party, but the rest of the party be able to affect everyone else? Like, there would have to be some, you know, I imagine, terrain reason, or some narrative reason why, like, it's a small tunnel. Okay, you can't get past it. You know, that character's doing what it's built to do, is doing for his power fantasy. But I mean, but that also, you know, in that same situation, you know, like the rest.
Past him.
No, not in like a small. He effectively can keep everything off of the group.
Right.
You know, it comes with a trade-off on that. If it's just because he keeps killing everything so fast, just the difficulty of the encounter, or just make peace with the fact that they're going to wipe the fucking floor with the encounter. And then, you know, just down the road, the encounters. I know CR is generally a crapshoot, because I know put into like CR is calculated in a way where the creature is going to be used optimally.
Right.
Which a lot of, you know, some people just simply don't understand how to use something optimally.
Right.
They don't realize, like, this one spell's better than another, or like a lot of people are like, well, like, why are liches like CR 21?
Right.
Whenever they have like 120 HP. Well, it's because if you look at their layer, every round there's one layer action that I don't believe requires line of sight, and I don't remember honestly off the top of my head if it requires a save or not, but like a bunch of spears just pop out of nowhere and in upwards of 50 necrotic damage just like that.
Yeah.
But they don't ever, people don't use layer actions. People don't, like, doing legendary actions. So there's a lot of people so they're not only meant to be played optimally, but they're also levied against groups that have expended resources. Like that goes into the accounting for this. It's assuming that you're fighting a group that doesn't have full resources.
Yeah.
If you're going, if it's the beginning of an adventure day and you're wanting if you're gonna have one fight in a day, it needs to be like 3 or 4 times deadly. Like what the XP amount for deadly would be. If they're only fighting one thing that day, 3 or 4 times that. Because even in the 6 to 8 encounter adventuring day, not all of those are supposed to be combat, but generally a medium encounter is going to end up being one in which the group can beat without expending resources. That's medium. Most people think that's most people or without any serious expenditure of resources.
A spell slot here or there.
Yeah, it's that's an encounter you come over with. You beat with attacks and cantrips. Like a mediocre encounter actually. Like what is classified as deadly XP wise is actually a mediocre encounter really. And like I said, most people don't know how to optimize. So with that, with dealing with what is seen as overpowered or unassailable, just crank it up.
Crank it up.
Yeah, just crank up the number of monsters, crank up the quality of monsters, crank up their tactics. There's just they're only unassailable because you as the DM don't want to assail them.
The old double back is a good move. Got a bunch of monsters that your players are kicking their ass and they run away because they're getting killed. They come back.
I was just leading them to traps.
That is the trap.
Just players are just bloodthirsty. Just
so bloodthirsty.
Just violent vagabonds.
I remember
they'll follow anything that's bleeding fucking into the most obvious trap.
We walked into this hallway that dealt, I think, 80 something frost damage to us or something crazy. We spent the next, we had to take a short rest because we were about to be in a fight.
Was that in the hag thing?
No, I think
after
that was
the whale drop?
That was campaign 1. Maybe after the whale drop.
It was after. Okay, so yeah, it was in the. Well, yeah, y'all were also.
No, that was in the siege.
Oh, this was in the siege.
That was right after we fought that one guy that we all thought was awesome. That frost guy.
No, what he just called y'all while y'all were all in the hallway?
Yeah.
Because right after that was the finale fight on the rooftop.
Right.
So is that what you're talking about?
That one trapped hallway where we all walked in and we all failed the deck save. And
just that wasn't the hack thing. Because
okay.
that was the tunnel I had labeled on my own map as the tunnel of fuckery and bullshit. because it was
that wasn't the hack thing. You're right. I remember it now.
It was the weird fleshy. First off, it was supposed to remind feel like going through. Incredibly uncomfortable just describing going through it. And then there were 8 glyphs of warding in it.
8
yes
glyphs.
Scribed in 2 pairs of 4 on all 4 sides of the hallway. 2 of which were damage ones, and 2 of which were crowns of madness, so that you'll start fighting and attacking each other. And y'all saved it. Yeah, it was my tunnel of fuckery and
bullshit.
Yeah, because it was the tunnel that the hags were using to escape from y'all, and it's obviously going deeper. And it's look, hags are it's notoriously supposed to be at least at that level y'all were. I know sea hags I believe sometimes aren't the brightest bulbs. They're angry, but those higher up hags are cunning. And and anything in its own layer is going to lead you through a trap if it's running away. It's not going to take the safest way back to its safe room, to use the word again.
Yeah.
It's because it'll be safe for y'all as well. They know where the traps are. They'll just run through and avoid them on the way back to their own little sanctum. Y'all also never actually killed that one that ran away. It wasn't in the last fight either.
I guess we'll never know.
Y'all will know.
Will I?
Who knows?
Will Dingo ever come back?
I don't know. Depends on if he dies in the what's it, the caves.
Well, we'll see.
We will see. I guess we can call it for today.
All right.
Well, thank you.
That's episode
Thank you
2
all.
of Eventual Apathy.
All hate mail can be sent to him.
Yeah, I'm Jack. That's Matt. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. If you do.